veterans of wars and military conflicts, servicemen of reserve. It's time to unite. In the name of peace, against wars, for the sake of life. Officers' brotherhood and officers' honor are not empty words. Former officers are always on service. The International Advisory Committee of Organizations of Reserve Officers was jointly established by a number of veteran organizations from Europe, Asia and Africa. It encompasses associations from 27 countries. Dear friends in arms and colleagues, we have celebrated the 5th anniversary since I've been elected President of the International Advisory Committee of Organizations of Reserve Officers. The idea of creating the International Advisory Committee of Organizations of Reserve Officers did not come out of the blue. The Megapir National Association of Unions of Reserve Officers of the Defense Ministry has been operating in Russia for more than 20 years now, assisting army veterans, working with young people and generally engaging in the country's social life. It has been active in solving topical issues at the highest level. Gasification costs 300,000 rubles for a pensioner dwelling in Moscow suburbs. How on earth can a pensioner get the money traveling from one garrison to another for 30 years of his service? 300,000 is unacceptable. I'll have a conversation with the head of Gazprom today. The association's management participated in various governmental meetings, public hearings and TV debates. We are against a military intervention, against using force, and we will do everything possible to prevent a civil war. We know the grief of a loss, blood and demise of our service members. Many of us have been in conflict zones. Soon Megapir won international recognition. The need to coordinate its activities with the colleagues abroad was obvious. After a number of events, it became absolutely clear the situation called for a unified international structure. Above all, our committee's goals are to join and learn from each other, to communicate through people's diplomacy, talk and maintain friendly relations. We also intend to pass our friendship to future generations. We should simply strive for peace together.
Veterans and reserve officers has the experience of what is war.
I welcome every effort in the cause of peace and friendship. We are interested in cooperation with such an organization set up by the Russian side, as the international collaboration enhances status and standards of living of service members. If we want to live peacefully on our planet, it's vital that people are able to join efforts striving for peace. The establishment of the committee and its activities are an important component of peace building, maintenance of peace in today's challenging international environment. Today, we can state that we've managed a lot, and still there are great plans ahead of us. And now we would like to briefly tell you about main stages of our organization's activities over the past 5 years. The International Advisory Committee carried out the International Mission for Peace and Friendship event in Slovakia and Austria and inspired the wreath-laying ceremony at the Soviet Warriors Memorial in Vienna, who sacrificed their lives to liberate Europe from fascism. They say retired officers are always on service, remaining warriors for the rest of their life. I think that their understanding and discussion of today's world's most topical issues is very urgent. The Austrian capital also hosted a meeting to establish the Reserve Officers Club as part of the International Advisory Committee. František Blanarik, the president of the Slovak Generals Club, was unanimously elected its chairman.
Very good idea for all these ex-military officers around the world.
After a cordial and friendly reception in Vienna, the Mission for Peace and Friendship participants went sightseeing before heading for Bratislava. The second session of the International Advisory Council occurred in May 2012 in the capital of Slovakia. 25 organizations from West, Central and East Europe, Asia and the Middle East took part in the event. All the work, obviously, promotes development of friendship and understanding among nations.
I think the organization has achieved very much in just 1 year's time.
I believe that following the meeting and taking decisions on a new management system and new structure of the organization, its geography will be expanded. Under the auspices of Milan Vtačnik, the mayor of Bratislava, with the support of the Megapeer National Association of Unions of Reserve Officers of the Defense Ministry and the Slovak Generals Club, the Mission for Peace and Friendship was held at the Gvizdislav Theatre. I welcome you at the Peace and Friendship Mission Night on the threshold of the second meeting of the International Advisory Council Organizations of Reserve Officers. Representatives of the Reserve Officers organizations and heads of diplomatic missions received Officers' Solidarity Medals to mark their active involvement and significant contribution to the committee's development. The guests offered a warm welcome to performers including young talents from Russia, virtuosos of the Slovak Military Orchestra and many others. As part of the cultural program, at the invitation of the Slovak Generals Club, the participants visited Bratislava's historical sites and saw the recreation of an episode from the final stage of the liberation of Europe during the Second World War. I wish instead of wars we had war games to condition personnel for ceremonial parades and to show them for younger generation and children. In July 2013, the Mission for Peace and Friendship and the third session of the International Advisory Committee took place in Astana, the capital of Kazakhstan. Distinguished generals and officers and foreign participants, we are pleased to welcome you in Astana, the capital of Kazakhstan, at the third meeting of the IAC. Today's gathering is honor for us. Nursultan Nazarbayev, the President of the Republic of Kazakhstan, received the Chivalry Order, the highest decoration of the IAC, for the support given to veteran organizations assisting the armed forces, veterans and children of the military. I plead the Defense Minister to hand over the distinguished award of the International Veteran Movement to Mr. President. The committee held its third session on the 17th of July 2013. It focused on the prospects of future collaboration and extension of its activities. All participants noted that the committee took only 3 years to gain international recognition and win authority within its member states. We put into practice different activities. We are capable of doing a lot all together, namely serious and fruitful projects. Veteran organizations from Bulgaria, Hungary, Israel, Macedonia, Poland, Serbia, Montenegro and the Czech Republic joined the International Advisory Committee. Today, 10 new organizations from 9 countries became members of the committee and the Southeastern Europe Council has been set up. It's good, as by tradition, the Balkan states have been playing an important role both in Europe and the entire world. The Security and Protection of Personality, Society and State Business Congress became another landmark for the International Advisory Committee in 2013. It was one of the organizers of the truly large-scale international event. It brought together representatives from 20 countries with military attachés and ambassadors among them. The Congress was aimed to exchange security experience, to find ways for cooperation, to help establishing and coordinating international business relationships to promote global security. Today's participation in the distinguished forum has shown us that to counter international terrorism, it is of paramount importance to unite the efforts of the International Advisory Council member organizations. 4 years ago, the committee raised the issue of coordinating international law enforcement agencies and public anti-terrorist organizations. This was discussed in great detail at a special conference.
Wanted to say that we're all in here. We have our political challenges at times, but in the conflict against international, domestic and international terrorism.
However, participants of the conference noted that efforts coordination-related situation left much to be desired. Terrorists thrive in a weak society. Terrorists have very intelligent organizers. The International Advisory Committee also signed a cooperation agreement with the International Association of Economic and Social Councils and similar institutions. Moreover, members of the forum received diplomas, badges and awards at the ceremonial reception. Hamid Ibrahim, President of the World Veterans Organization, Dmitry Yazov, Marshal of the Soviet Union, and Evgeny Velikhov, President of the International Association of Economic and Social Councils and similar institutions, were handed over the Chivalry Order for supporting veteran organizations that help the armed forces, veterans, and children of the military. The year 2014 was marked for the International Advisory Committee of Organizations of Reserve Officers by the centenary of the First World War, commemorated throughout the world. To mark the anniversary, the International Advisory Committee organized an academic and training conference, The First World War: Causes, Lessons, Conclusions and Nowadays. Incidentally, it took place in Belgrade, the capital of Serbia, which saw the beginning of the horrible war. I welcome the opportunity to see you on behalf of the Ministry of Defense of the Republic of Serbia at the remarkable scientific conference. The conference hosted representatives from more than 30 countries, including leading researchers, political analysts and military commanders. During the two-day talks, the participants analyzed the First World War's causes, military operations and outcome. The topic and issues discussed at the conference are extremely rare and topical at the same time. The world community must realize that saving peace in the world requires all possible political, economic and diplomatic measures. I would like to thank you for grand and grand-grandfathers, as now in France we have peace, democracy and good economics. Your ancestors brought liberty to France. In a ceremonial atmosphere, military leaders, representatives of state and public international organizations, scientists and public figures who directly participated in this socially significant event were awarded medals and memorable signs of the International Advisory Committee and the Club of Generals and Admirals of Serbia. The conference participants laid wreaths at the monument to the unknown hero atop of the Mount of Avala next to Belgrade. This monument commemorates the victims of the Balkan Wars and the First World War. Serbian President Tomislav Nikolic welcomed the delegation in his residence of Novi Dvor. The Presidium of the International Advisory Committee awarded him with the Chivalry Order, the committee's highest decoration for supporting veterans and promoting peace and accord. Another important event of the year 2014 was the fourth session of the International Advisory Committee and the Regional Council of the Southeast European Countries Organizations, which took place in Belgrade on the 24th of April. The IAC expanded structure and influence. The French National Federation of Veterans of Foreign Operations, headed by Laurent Attar-Bayrou, acceded to the International Advisory Committee. Following the proposal of the Russian side, the International Advisory Committee made a decision to create an international military and philosophical society. In addition, it considered and approved the project of an international film and TV show festival for a world without wars and military conflicts. We plead journalists and leading TV anchors to join their efforts and bring the ideas of peace to a broad community. The members of the Regional Council session commented on the relevance of the IAC's initiatives in the challenging contemporary conditions. The international audience would see masterpieces of the world cinema and TV shows promoting peace and universal human values, uniting reserve officers from all over the world and reinforcing the ideas of unacceptability of wars and military conflicts. The year 2014 witnessed a significant event. On the 3rd of June, the United Nations Peacekeepers International Day celebration took place. The representatives of the IAC took part in the celebration at the invitation of the Soldiers of Peace International Association of United Nations Peacekeepers. The participants noted that the peacekeeping forces and the committee's members worked together for the same goal: preventing violence, war and military conflicts, and looking for ways to solve them through peaceful diplomatic means. The year 2015 was remarkable for the 70th anniversary of the Victory Day over the Nazis. The date is significant both for Russia and the entire world. It was the main step towards the end of the Second World War. The International Committee of Organizations of Reserve Officers timed its International Mission for Peace and Friendship event to coincide with this important date. It took place in Paris with the support of the Russian delegation to UNESCO and the Soldiers of Peace International Association of Peacekeepers.
Our memory and people's memory is hopefully also a life-giving source for our veterans, those who are today our history bearers.
These serious discussions focus on the issues of peace and war, along with the problem of averting armed conflicts.
It's every soldier sits at the same table, yes, for the peace, or for the commemorative to 17th anniversary.
The world began speaking too much and too loudly about the issue of war. It's not fortuitous that the International Advisory Committee had its session in the UNESCO headquarters, one of the United Nations special agencies that has 195 member states, 2 observer states and 9 associate members. UNESCO has always been reputed as an intellectual organization, a laboratory of ideas and conscience of humankind. That's why I find the event fully meeting the spirit of our organization. The session members remarked that the Second World War tragedy urges to look more actively for solutions to the contemporary security problems. Challenges, above all, must be resolved through negotiations, contacts and talks rather than by arms race. The IAC also held the presentation of the International Festival of Documentary Films and Television Programs for a World Without Wars and Military Conflicts. Its main prize, the Crystal World statue, symbolizes the fragility of our planet. Our world-known film director Emir Kusturica wants to join our cause as well. Moreover, the session dealt with a number of practical arrangements and, in accordance with the Charter, decided to rename the committee's sessions into the General Assembly. The forum resulted in endorsing a new document, the Peace Charter, a message calling for heads of state and governments and the world community to oppose contemporary threats and challenges caused by military conflicts and extremism. Committee's president Alexander Kanshin and Laurent Attar-Bayrou, who heads the Soldiers of Peace International Association, awarded the veterans and UNESCO representatives with decorations and badges of honor. War may result in peace and stems from peace, and striving for peace is an everlasting struggle. The committee's highest chivalry order was awarded to Joseph Migiš, advisor to the Slovak Prime Minister, and Jean-Marc Todeschini, the Secretary of State for Veteran Issues at the Ministry of Defense of France. His advisor, Joseph Pascal, received the award for him. I bend my knee to millions of victims each of our countries have endured. Let's keep our hope. It's a great mission. After the session of the Mission for Peace and Friendship, members of the organization laid wreaths to the eternal flame beneath the Arc of Triumph at the Charles de Gaulle Square to commemorate the Second World War. In 2015, the Moscow House of Nationalities held a meeting of the Mission for Peace and Friendship Action for Moscow Diplomatic Corps, public and veteran organizations. It celebrated the 70th anniversary of the victory over the Nazis and celebrated the International Day of the United Nations Peacekeepers.
Здесь за круглым столом присутствует
The round table has brought together some representatives of the IAC, encompassing today 27 countries, 29 organizations, and several countries granted the status of observers.
в качестве наблюдателей.
And thank you for the Russian support your work, and everybody in the world, and also the peacekeeper in Russian support to your work.
Отношения между государствами СНГ
Relations among the CIS countries witness turbulent times, and such documents consolidating our stamina for peace against terrorism and any other sort of threats are valuable.
очень ценны.
The committee's presidium members visited the Ostankino TV center and met the heads of the leading Russian TV channels as part of their effort to create the film festival for a world without wars and military conflicts. The first festival of documentary films and TV programs for a world without wars and military conflicts became one of the highlights in the history of the International Advisory Committee in the year 2016. It was more than just another event organized by the committee, it logically continued its main policies. Over a relatively short period of time, the concept of the film festival gained extreme popularity among Russian and international diplomats, journalists, filmmakers, and social activists. I'm here to represent the Union of Cinematographers. We welcome this festival. The film festival is a good initiative. I would wish it to become one of the most important festivals in the world. I highly appreciate and support such events. The film festival is a fantastic idea. The idea of uniting people for the good cause, preserving peace by means of art, cinema and television was a success. More than 50 applications came to the festival from 23 countries. The jury chose the winners in 2 nominations, the Best Documentary Film and the Best TV Show. The committee members, representatives of veteran and youth organizations, prominent culture workers, researchers, military officers and delegations from the festival laureate countries attended the award ceremony, which took place in Moscow. The film festival came to an end, and the Crystal World statuettes went to their rightful owners. It was a good start, and this was just the beginning. On the 15th of June 2016, the IAC's Presidium held in Moscow a special meeting to mark the 5-year anniversary since its foundation. The speakers summed up the results of the committee's work during these 5 years, shared their opinions on a wide range of international security and peace issues, and discussed the future events in the following year. At the invitation of the Russian Defense Ministry, in 2016, a delegation of the IAC visited the International Army Games, which took place in the Patriot Park of Recreation and Culture of the Russian Federation Defense Ministry. The delegation awarded the winners in certain nominations with the committee's special prizes. The first International Army Games were organized in 2015 at the initiative of the Russian Defense Ministry. 56 teams from 17 states participated in the competition. In 2016, the Games took place both in Russia and in Kazakhstan. The International Advisory Committee used the Army Games as yet another platform to build on ties with the representatives of foreign countries. There are quite a few teams present here. Countries are member states of the IAC, veteran and reservist organizations from Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, Belarus and Russia. I think our contacts and practices will be expanded. Nowadays, the International Advisory Committee of Organizations of Reserve Officers is an extremely powerful structure. During the short period after its creation, the IAC has achieved a lot. It enhanced international cooperation and contributed to efforts against war, conflicts, and international terrorism. The committee has become a tool of the people's diplomacy. The committee published more than 10 issues of the Officers' Brotherhood magazine. The committee's own film studio produced more than 25 movies, which are available at the official website of the organization. There you can also find the latest detailed information about the committee. Year by year, the committee's sphere of influence is growing. New organizations join the committee for productive cooperation. The International Advisory Committee has achieved a lot in 6 years. Still, there is more to be done in the future. One of the committee's plans is organizing a photo competition, Peace Through the Military Eyes, Beauty Will Save the World. Another is ascending Mount Elbrus, the act that will go under the name of storming the European roof. Today we can state that we are on the right path. We are not only doing the paperwork, receiving documents, applications, declarations, but we are also communicating with one another. The circle of ties, as I see it, will be broadened, and there are grounds for it.